The gates of the Arctic National Park is spectacular but dangerous. It's home to hundreds of black bears and grizzlies, not to mention roaming packs of wolves. It's 13,000 square miles of near untouched wilderness. Father and son have no way of contacting the outside world. They've packed no radio or mobile phone. Blake's itinerary has them traveling south by raft down the Koyukuk River to the town of Bettles. It should take around 6 days.
Let's go!
It was about a 90-mile float that we had planned, just camping and doing little short day hikes. We were just gonna have fun.
That's beautiful, isn't it? Thanks, son. A wonderful, wonderful birthday present.
Well, most of our conversation was just how amazed we were with the beauty that we were surrounded by and how remote it was and how quiet it was.
They'd been rafting for just a couple of hours when they noticed that the river is changing.
Blake, ice. Oh yeah, thought it would all be melted by now. Yeah, me too.
For 6 months of the year, the rivers are choked with ice. During the summer, it all melts, but this early in the season, some patches have yet to thaw.
The longer we floated, the more ice we actually started to encounter.
It doesn't look like it's going to let up. Do you think we ought to stop this thing?
The current's picking up speed, and Blake struggles to control the raft.
I kept trying to look around the corner, hoping to find, which way we were going to be going. And that's when I realized that actually we didn't have a choice where we were going.
The men are at the mercy of the current.
We're going to have to pull in and stop this.
I'm trying, Dad. I can't slow it down, though.
We're going too fast.
I can't slow it down, Dad.
It was sheer panic at the time, and it happened so quickly there wasn't much time at all to think. The next thing I actually remember was being pulled right underneath the ice.
There was so little time to realize what had happened, except that it was a real problem.
It wasn't long before we came up in essentially an air chamber underneath the ice.
The air pocket saves their lives, but the ice shelf could stretch on for miles.
I remember looking over at my father, yelling at him.
Blake yelled.
Dad, I'm sorry.
Of course, it wasn't his fault.
Give a hand.
Blake manages to grab Neil's hand, but the current's too strong. His dad is swept away beneath the ice. The men are spat out from under the ice shelf, but their ordeal isn't over yet.
We were being carried rapidly toward the second ice shelf. I saw it coming. I reached up and grabbed it to try to prevent from going under it. Of course, the river was such that I was carried underneath.
The roof of this ice shelf is even lower than the last.
And the second ice shelf had no room to breathe.
I really thought I had taken my last breath. My father and I both ended up with a lot of abrasions to the top of our heads because we kept trying to come up to the air that we were hoping was there. thought of a worse way of dying than drowning, and was certainly thinking that that is how I was going to die. After being under that water for what seemed like an eternity, just remember popping out, taking in a nice big breath of air. At this time, I had no idea where my father was. He had been pushed up against something and trapped.
Dad! Dad! Dad!
I don't know how I would have been able to face my mother and the rest of my family, letting them know that my father had perished, you know, when I had made it. And the next thing I remember seeing was his head above the water.
The powerful current is sweeping Neil away.
It didn't appear like he was making any attempt to get out of the river, and for all I knew, he was injured and couldn't.
Neil's disorientated, but somehow he catches hold of a rock and hauls himself out.
Dad, you're gonna freeze!
Blake knows that his dad has got to get to shore fast before he's paralyzed by cold and shock.
Let us swim!
And Blake, in the meantime, is yelling at me, and I can't hear him above the roar of the river.
Let us swim for it! Head, here you!
So eventually I managed to get my breath long enough to tell him to shut up.
Will you let me think for a minute?
Blake was telling me that I had to swim over to him, which was the last thing in the world I wanted to do.
Dad! Come get!
Getting back in the river is dangerous. But Blake knows it's his dad's only chance.
Come on, Dad! You can do it! You can do it, Dad! Dad!
Oh my God, you're freezing. Dad, come here. I'm so sorry, Dad. It's okay. It's okay. It was just bad luck. Bad luck.
As a doctor, Blake knows that his dad's in the first stages of hypothermia.
I thought you were gone.
The second I got him out, I realized he was shaking uncontrollably. It was mild seizure-like.
Blake had in his life vest a picture of his wife and son, and been so worried about ever seeing them again. And we were both somewhat crying.
It's okay, look. It's gonna be all right. I'll be back home.
But Blake knows their prospects are bleak. They're stranded in a remote wilderness and nobody expects them back for at least a week. Their raft is lost, along with all their food and gear. Worse still, the reserve is teeming with hundreds of wolves and bears.
I think at that point we realized that we got some big problems.
Getting colder now, the sun's going down. You think we ought to find a more sheltered spot?
Yeah. You okay to move?
Guess I'll have to be. What are you doing?
show people where we're going.
Pity there'll be no one to see it.
Come on now.
Blake and Neil set off to look for shelter. Blake lost his boots in the accident, but his pace still leaves his father lagging behind.
I think that I wanted to move a lot faster than my father was able to move at the time.
The freezing water has drained Neil's strength. He's 65 years old and still feeling the effects of an accident 12 months ago that left him with a broken ankle.
Blake! Can we just hold up here a minute? You're not even trying to find a place to stop.
Oh, sorry, Dad. I just got carried away.
There's no way we're just walking out of here. We're gonna have to find a good campsite and stay put. How agreed?
All right.
Okay. Give me your hand.
Here we were in the middle of this vast wilderness, a good 60 miles from the nearest human being. No one was expected to be flown into the area for at least 2 weeks after our trip. We were alone, and we were going to have to endure or survive until either we found a way out of it or someone came looking for us.
It's the rainy season, so the men set about building a shelter to protect them. It's crucial they stay warm and dry, but that's just the start of their problems.
Hey, Blake! Come take a look at this!
What?
Tracks. What do you think?
Black bear?
More like a grizzly to me. There's dozens of them around here.
Well, maybe they were just passing through. I'm gonna get that fire started.
They packed a shotgun, but that's at the bottom of the river. Now their only defense against prowling grizzlies is fire. Their ordeal has left Neil and Blake battered and bruised. Now they have to contend with the cold.
We got enough wood?
Yeah, we got lots. You get closer to the fire. I'm warm enough. There.
My father and I took turns laying towards the front of the shelter where the fire was,
Try and get some sleep, okay?
Yeah.
and then whoever was laying in back would bear hug the person in front.
Sleeping won't be easy. It's summer and the sun barely dips below the horizon. But during the few hours of darkness, the temperature can still get close to freezing.
I shivered myself to sleep, because sure my clothes were still damp.
But Blake can't sleep. He knows it'll be at least a week before anyone realizes they're missing. If they stay put, their chances of survival are slim. The only alternative is a grueling 60-mile hike to the nearest town.
It was a long way to the nearest person. It was extremely rough terrain. We only had one set of shoes between the two of us. There were plenty of bears in the area. It was hard to take in the severity of the predicament that we were in.
During the night, Blake has made a tough decision.
Well, I needed to get back to Bettles. I needed to go find help.
The #1 rule of survival is stick together. But Blake knows his dad isn't up to the hike.
Dad? You okay?
Yeah. Pretty sore, though. You slept?
Not so much, no.
You know, I've been thinking, we gotta get ourselves organized. We gotta build up a nice big pile of firewood, maybe make some traps. We're gonna need some food.
I'm going for help, Dad.
Help? From where?
Blake had no doubt given it a lot of thought and decided that he could conquer this problem and hike back to Bettles.
Bettles is 60 miles away. This is just plain crazy. Look, we talked about this. First rule of survival, stick together.
Dad, I know all that, but no one else is going to be coming down the river for weeks. We can't wait that long.
You trying to get yourself killed? Have you even looked at the map? There's a darn great river in the way.
I'd ask him how in the world he was going to get over the Tingayuk River to our south, which appeared to be a pretty good-sized river, and he said, I don't know, I'll find a way.
Yeah? How? This isn't some little stream. This is an Alaskan river in full flow. Now, do you have any idea how powerful that is?
Yes, Dad, I was in one yesterday, remember? We're on our own, Dad. No one's coming.
I'm telling you not to go.
Leaving him alone was a hard decision, but I think he knew I was stubborn because I inherited that from him.
You're really going, aren't you?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm really going. Because if I don't, we're going to die here, Dad.
You're gonna need the knife. And the lighter. Now, what about the bears? You saw all those tracks.
Well, you got the fire. That should keep them away.
I meant you, son. What about the bears?
I love you, Dad.
Yeah. Me too. Well, you know I do.
I'm going to come back, Dad.
Now, don't get yourself killed, you hear?
I was emotional when he left. I felt alone and very concerned about being alone, but probably more worried about him and what he might encounter.
Ahead of Blake is a 60-mile hike south to the nearest town. In such a vast expanse, he can't afford to get lost. One wrong turn could spell disaster. Now Blake's made a gut-wrenching decision to leave his dad alone and hike out for help. He's heading south for the town of Bettles, 60 miles away. The biggest obstacle in his path is the Tingayuk River. But first, he has to find it.
Because of the scale of this map, it was a little bit difficult telling exactly where we were. I didn't have any great landmarks.
Neil hopes the fire will be enough to keep the bears and wolves at bay, but he also shouts to try to discourage an attack.
Anybody home? Come on down and join me.
Despite his hardships, what really preys on his mind is what might be happening to his son.
I was very worried about Blake and what he might have run into.
Like his dad, Blake is trying to frighten predators away by singing aloud.
All night long, never got tired.
Most of my songs were moose tunes and bear tunes, which was really quite ironic.
I went out walking in the woods one night.
all alone. I hit myself. Tree up. See what I
Suddenly, Blake comes face to face with a grizzly bear.
A grizzly can tear your head off with one bite, but their claws can rip holes through you like nobody's business, so you don't want to mess with them.
The bear is some way off, but even the slightest sound could alert it to Blake's presence.
I certainly sent the adrenaline through my body when I saw him.
Blake daren't make a sound. The bear's too close.
It was scary seeing him out there. He wasn't far enough away for my liking.
The bear hasn't spotted him, but grizzlies have a sense of smell 100 times more powerful than a human and can pick up the scent of prey from more than 2 miles away. But Blake's in luck. He's downwind of the bear, and his scent is carried in the opposite direction. But the wind could change. He risks making a run for it. Now the mental and physical strain of the last 2 days finally catches up with him.
I realized I needed to rest. That was something my body was asking for at the time, because it had been a long sludge.
Blake hasn't eaten for 36 hours.
The only thing that I really saw were some spiders, and there were a few that I swatted and ate, just because I thought maybe I'll start to see more of these and have some nutrition. But the amount of nutrition I got from the few that I ate certainly didn't give me any energy, that's for sure.
Blake's decision to hike out looks increasingly like a bad move.
Around 6 or 7 in the evening on Tuesday, I was laying over by my fire when I heard the sound of an airplane. And my God, he was coming up on me quick, I could tell. And I ran as fast as I could.
Hey! 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 Hey!
I realized that he spotted me. He'd spotted me.
Hey!
3 hours later, and there's still no sign of rescue.
Boy, after a while, I started thinking, did I just hallucinate? Did I imagine that plane?
If help doesn't come soon, Blake knows they're as good as dead.
same plane, and as they flew over me, they dropped a bag of stuff.
The bag contains supplies and a walkie-talkie.
I turned that radio on. I kind of told him what had happened.
There's only one thought on Blake's mind.
Please hurry! You gotta go find my dad! He's 15 miles upstream. There'll be a fire going. You'll see a fire.
The pilot launches an aerial search for Neil.
And Tango, where are you guys at? Okay, we're gonna head north.
A plane reaches the right area within 10 minutes. Neil's camp should be easy to spot. But when the pilot reports back to Blake, the news is bad.
Hey, you gotta go back! He's up there! Keep going till you find him! He can't leave, he's gotta be at the camp. Maybe you didn't go far enough. He can't walk, he's gotta be there.
I was worried something would happen to my dad. Because there's no way he could miss it.
You gotta go and find my dad.
And I fell to my knees.
Blake ignored his father's advice and left him to fend for himself. Now he must face a terrible thought, that his dad hasn't made it. The aerial search continues. But in such a vast wilderness, Neil's camp is proving hard to locate. Three hours later, a rescue helicopter picks up Blake and rushes to the scene.
Neil! Neil! You okay?
How did you know I was here?
I asked your son.
Blake?
He climbed in that helicopter.
Dad! I'm so sorry, Dad. So sorry.
Hell, all I could say was, man, you look like hell.
Well, you don't look that cute yourself.
I was very happy to see him. Very, very happy.
Can we get the hell home now?
Let's get out of here.
And then we took off. Together again.
Zambia, one of the wildest countries in Africa, home to the spectacular Victoria Falls. They are fed by the mighty Zambezi River, which divides Zambia from Zimbabwe. It's here on one of the river's most isolated stretches that two friends have planned a weekend fishing trip. Arthur Taylor and Alistair Gallatley have known each other for over 25 years.
Our kids have grown up together with Alistair. Basically, Alistair's part of the family. He's a very good guy in a crisis and a very good friend.
We've known each other a while. We've spent a lot of time together. We go fishing a lot.
Where do you want the fish, mate?
Usual place.
As experienced safari guides, they've lived and worked alongside the Zambezi for most of their lives.
Most important. Good enough. Think so? I can't wait to get on the water.
Joining them are Arthur's English wife, Faye, and her parents, Clive and Brenda. They're retired teachers visiting from England.
Change your mind yet?
No, I think I'll just stay here and relax and read my book. Go on.
They've both lived in Africa on and off over the years. This is the last chance for all of them to go out on the river together. Tomorrow, Faye and Arthur have to pick up their 2 children from boarding school. But even though she spent a lot of time in the bush, Brenda isn't keen on the idea of going fishing.
My mum was anxious because she doesn't really like going on the boat. And she would rather have just spent the day in camp.
I'm not going to go if you don't go.
If she doesn't come, the crocs will be safe.
My mum is a pretty strong personality, and you certainly don't mess her around.
You'll have to give me a hand in here.
Because it was the last day of the holiday, she finally agreed to come with us.
Okay, all aboard.
What's the time?
There was no warning.
Okay, come on. He's coming.
It was just this huge boom, and I was in the water. I think my subconscious was saying, this is it, this is the end. It was only when I actually was pulled back to the surface and gasping for air that suddenly then the reality of what had actually happened hit me.
They've survived the Hippo attack, but now they're in even greater peril. They've capsized in one of the most crocodile-infested rivers in the world.
To think about, you know, my bare, dangly legs, it sent a chill through me, thinking that any moment now, one of us would be taken by a crocodile.
Clive Kelly has watched his wife Brenda sucked under the crocodile-infested river. He has no idea if she is alive or dead.
Brenda! Brenda! Where are you?
Although Clive can't hear them, his wife, along with his daughter Faye, her husband Arthur and their best friend Alistair, have all surfaced underneath the boat.
Brenda!
But the group's immediate danger is not crocodiles.
The current was actually so strong in that part of the river that it actually swept us out from underneath the boat.
The Zambezi is famous for its unpredictable and deceptively strong currents. Many people drown in its eddies and whirlpools every year.
The one thing that I thought of was the fact that my children could have been with me and that I would have lost them because they would have been just thrown out of the boat. You know, they would have just been gone.
Brenda had gone swim very well. She was screaming and struggling.
She obviously needed something to hold on to, and she had swallowed a lot of water and was gasping for air and kind of pushed onto me so that she could get her breath back. And I'm like, you know, Mum, you know, you're pushing me down.
Oh, Brenda, I got you. I got you.
It's just so strong, and we were being swept away. It was just incredible that Arthur was there when we needed him. Somehow, he managed to keep hold of the two of us.
We're all getting washed down together. We basically hung on to each other. It was very hard to swim against a strong current.
The boat has become snagged in the middle of the river.
Just relax, Brenda, relax.
Clive and Alistair are able to cling on to it while the current drags the others downstream.
Clive and I, we couldn't do much. We sat on the front of the boat and we watched them.
I had no idea where we were going. All I knew was that we were being swept away.
The current was really, really strong and was just sweeping us down. We were trying to make our way to shallow waters. We knew it was our only hope of survival.
Luckily, the current actually took us towards the middle of the river, which was slightly shallower.
It's a sandbank.
There was a submerged island.
The first thing I did is start vomiting because I swallowed half a Zambezi.
Alistair has seen his friends struggle against the current. He knows Clive would find it virtually impossible to make it to the sandbank.
Clive can hardly swim, so it was difficult because he couldn't say, hey, swim over to the sandbank or do this or do that. We just had to sit down and settle down onto the boat.
Arthur, Faye and Brenda aren't much better off.
When we finally got to where we could stand, it was kind of a relief, but we knew that it was just a temporary relief.
The river is full of crocodiles and very huge crocodiles that would have no fear of man. And I believe most of those crocodiles in that area just look at you as a food source. So definitely there's a big chance you will be eaten.
From his position on the boat, Alistair assesses the situation. The group's chances of being rescued on this remote stretch of the river are slim. He knows that every year hundreds of people die of crocodile attacks on the Zambezi. As the only single man in the group,
Arthur!
he takes a calculated risk.
I'm going to swim to that bank and get help. Don't risk it up.
He's crazy.
It was quite fast water. I started swimming slowly, I was a bit scared that splashing around the crocs I'd attract crocodiles. I was probably swept down 300-400 meters. I was pretty tired by then. I saw a little inlet up ahead, so I paddled into the inlet.
Out of sight from the others, Alistair finally reaches the safety of the riverbank.
As my feet touched the ground, I looked up. About 10 yards away, there was this crocodile in the water just looking at me. Scary. I didn't quite know what to do. I think I actually panicked. I decided the best thing to do is try go for the crocodile and maybe chase it. I went under the water just to try to see where the croc was. As I started to go towards the croc, it came for me. It was going for my legs, and I pushed it away with my left hand. Its teeth cut my left hand up a bit, and it disappeared. It just latched straight onto my arm. It was just trying to really tear my arm off.
Alistair is trapped in a death roll, a spinning maneuver used by crocodiles to drown and dismember their prey.
I was getting pretty weak. I thought it was over, I really did. I couldn't see any way of getting out of it.
His right arm trapped in the crocodile's jaws, Alistair thinks of one last thing that might save him.
I took my left arm and tried to get it inside the crocodile's jaw. They've got a flap in the back of the throat which keeps the water out when they're underwater. I tried to reach that. The second I did that, once I got my other fingers inside the mouth, it let go.
The savage attack has broken Alistair's arm in 3 places. His shoulder joint has been ripped from its socket.
I was pretty scared I was going into shock. I was very weak. I lost a lot of blood.
All he can do to stem the blood loss is to make a tourniquet. Arthur, Faye and Brenda lost sight of Alistair soon after he was swept downriver. They have no idea that he has been attacked by a crocodile.
I distinctly heard him shouting, "Oh my God, oh my God." And we just thought he was exhausted and was just kind of relieved that he'd got to the other side.
Mother! I've been nailed by a croc!
Oh, God.
Although Alistair is clear of the water, he is still vulnerable to attack.
I was worried about the croc coming back again. I wanted out of there as fast as I could. The sun was pretty hot, and there was one tree in this pile of rocks that I went and I sat under to try and sort my arm out.
Alistair's natural painkillers are beginning to wear off. He's feeling the full force of his injuries. The slightest movement is agony. Clive is still stranded in the middle of the river. And now the boat is beginning to sink.
Can't stay there. He left us onto it.
Dad! You're gonna have to come over to us!
Righto.
My dad had no choice but to swim, because if the boat went down in the night, then he would just disappear. He wouldn't have stood a chance.
Brenda!
It was just such an awful experience to watch, and terrifying, not knowing at any moment when he was going to be taken by a crocodile.
Come on!
And Clive also has to struggle against the erratic currents of the Zambezi.
Although he was swimming as much as he could towards us,
That's it, Dad!
he was just going further and further away.
Oh, God.
Come on, Clive!
Yes!
It seemed to take forever.
Great! Keep at it!
I can't tell you what a relief that was, that my dad was alive and had made it.
On shore, only a few hundred yards away, Alistair's agony is intensifying. His wound is becoming a poisonous time bomb.
I had nothing to wash it out with properly. The arm was full of rubbish.
Alistair knows that bacteria from the crocodile's bite will have entered his bloodstream. Untreated, he could easily lose his arm to gangrene.
Gangrene is pretty serious. A friend of mine, he got chewed by a lion. You know, he got to hospital within 8 hours, but he still lost his leg.
Too weak to move. If the gangrene doesn't get Alistair, the predators might.
Suddenly everything is awake. Your ears, your eyes.
Big panic.
Wait, look at
When something is coming directly to you, you fear the worst.
Wait, look at
As we hit the water with the paddle, it veered off into the mainstream.
We were on tenterhooks after that, looking around in case another crocodile did come by.
On the sandbank, the group are becoming desperate. Clive, Brenda, Faye and Arthur have now been stranded in the middle of the Zambezi River for almost 20 hours. It's over 12 hours since they last heard from Alistair. They have no idea if he's still alive.
There was this pain, just like needles all over the place, especially on my arm. I didn't realize what it was at first until I managed to sit up. And I realized there were ants biting me. These safari ants.
Safari ants are one of the most vicious insects in the world. They've been drawn to Alistair by the scent of his blood. But their bites trigger a surge of adrenaline through his body, snapping him out of unconsciousness and probably saving his life. Alistair forces himself to move on.
It was tough going. I couldn't stand up. I had to sort of bent over, using my left arm on my knee to try and keep support.
Alistair realizes he's the only one who can find help for the others. But it's now 24 hours since the crocodile attack. He's lost a lot of blood. He's weak and disorientated.
I heard a boat, and I was far from the river. I thought I'd never get down to the river in time.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
There must have been an aeroplane or something, because it definitely wasn't a boat.
Despite the threat of crocodiles, Alistair loses consciousness. On the sandbank, the others are beginning to lose hope. It turns out that Alistair did hear a boat.
I thought, surely they're going to come across. I tried to shout, couldn't get it out. They started to move off.
On the river, his friends can do nothing but await their fate.
Canoes.
Brenda, just dance.
I can see them there. There.
Incredibly, some canoeists have ventured this far down the river.
They'd seen us, and they thought, well, what strange people fishing in the middle of the river. I can't tell you how that felt, really. I mean, it was just a sense of relief. We were going to be all right. It was also still worry for Alistair. We hadn't heard from Alistair for several hours.
Eventually, the couple across the river spotted Alistair. They took him to safety, where he was reunited with the others. Despite his terrible injuries, surgeons were able to save Alistair's arm. He and Arthur still take regular fishing trips together on that same stretch of the Zambezi. Clive and Brenda still visit Africa regularly.
Mr. and Mrs. Kelly won't go fishing with us anymore, but
Faye spends most of her weekends in the bush, but she rarely goes out on the river.
I always feel anxious when I get in a boat, even now, after all these years. It's just such a terrible experience. But we all survived, all 5 of us.